Hi everybody, my name is Daniel Nees and I was the director on the Bane Star Wars fan film, and today we'll be reacting to another Star Wars fan film that was sent to us by Odog Omc. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. And he's asked that we have a look at it and give some feedback, so here we go. It's definitely an interesting idea for an intro video. I quite like the concept of having like your logo on the side of the camera and movies night down there. It's really quite cool. Definitely, the main thing that I'm looking at here is that it's just a little bit, I don't know, blurry. It looks like it was made at lower resolution. Like, I know later on, because I had a look at this before, that it's quite a bit higher resolution than this. Like, this looks quite low resolution next to the rest of it. I don't know if this was made a while ago and it was just put onto this video or what, but yeah, definitely try to make it look as sharp and clean as possible, unless you're very deliberately going for that look. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's a cool idea. I don't mind it at all. The CG on this part of the intro video is quite nice. Like that. Whoever did the CG on that did a pretty good job. Yeah.
Kitty, be gone. No, be gone, Kitty. This is not your time to shine. Go away. Bad cat. God.
I do believe that's the trailer music for Rise of Skywalker. I'm pretty sure it is. Is it? Is it? Yes, it definitely is. Look, copyright music is a dangerous game. Definitely try to use original music or royalty-free music if at all possible. Like for our film, the Bane one, we used a program called Film Story that we talked about in another video. And it basically creates a relatively original soundtrack using some pre-built loop tracks and things like that. I get it, you're just having fun, and you're not trying to make money off this or anything like that. It's just for a bit of fun, so, you know, I don't have a problem with it really. But if you are trying to make money off it, definitely try to avoid using copyrighted music. The capital letters at the start of each line, I would make them lowercase, except at the start of the actual sentence. Because at the moment, in my mind, this reads like, our story follows two young Jedi that survived the Great Purge. Like, it doesn't flow because that capital at the start of each line makes it seem like it's a different sentence each time. So if you just made the Y and the T in this one and the A in the one before a lowercase one, it would read much more like, our story follows two young Jedi that survived the Great Purge. It's a good kickoff point for the story, but yeah, the capitals are throwing me a little bit. Ooh, those planets look great. Whoever did those planets looks really good. The lens flare looks pretty solid. Oh, that TIE fighter's a bit disappointing, unfortunately. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack here. So the planets look great. I have no problem with the planets at all. I don't know if that's an image that you purchased or if someone made them. Either way, they look great. No problem with that. The lens flare looks a little bit, I don't know, a little bit too... It looks alright. I don't think the lighting in that situation would be making a lens flare like that. But look, it's a lens flare, and if you like that lens flare, then that's great. You know, it's not a bad lens flare. But the TIE fighter, this one really throws me a little. So the framing, that is to say its position and size and whatnot in the shot, it's a bit off. Like, it's quite small and it's quite far off to the left. If I were directing this, and I'm not saying that you've done a bad job, this is definitely something that comes with experience. But I would probably be putting that TIE fighter a little bit further to the right, so it's about a third of the way into the shot. Making it a little bit bigger, perhaps. Maybe not. But maybe making it move a bit faster as well, because at the moment, it just looks like it looks a bit stationary, but that might just be on purpose. You know, I had the same problem in the Bane film that we made. The first ever shot in the film is a ship dropping out of hyperspace, and a lot of people thought the movement of that was really weird. It's just, you know, it's a subjective thing. So maybe you like it like that, and that's good. But the lens flare should definitely be on top of the ship. So it looks to me like the lens flare is underneath. So you've done the planets, then the lens flare, then the ship last. That's how it looks to me. I might be wrong, but that's how it looks. And the lens flare should definitely be the last thing that goes on top. So it should be more like the planets, then the ship, then the lens flare. Because lens flares are a thing that happen inside the lens of the camera itself. It's not something that happens in the physical world. It's something that happens, well, it is, but it's not something that happens in the environment, in what you're filming. It's something that happens inside the lens of the actual camera. So all the stuff that's happening in the shot, the ship, the planets, the space behind it, all that stuff should be behind the lens flare, because all that stuff's out here and the lens flare is all the way up in here in the camera. So that should be coming absolutely last. But yeah, with that TIE fighter, the other two things I'm noticing is that the coloring is quite, it's very, very blue next to everything else in the shot that's very, very green. And I get it, it's not going to be the exact same color as the planet, but then I would expect with that much light, that much green light being shone on the ship, there would be at least some reflections or something of that green light on the ship, like a little bit of ambient greenness coming from the planets, and there's just nothing. It's just blue ship. And like, you know, that's again something that comes with experience, but it just makes it so that it looks like a thing that was just sort of slapped on top, as opposed to something that's integrated in the shot. And the only other thing I'm really noticing is that the edges of that TIE fighter are quite jagged and pixely. My guess as to why that would be is because the ship was probably made in 3D and rendered in 3D, but you used a green background as like a green screen for it or something. And then you keyed it out, so removed the green areas, made them transparent, and then had that ship as an object slapped on top of this shot. And the key wasn't particularly smooth, so it wasn't particularly sharp, so you get these quite jaggedy, harsh edges on it as it's moving along. That is just my guess. Definitely, if you can, like Blender is a fantastic 3D program, and you can render things so that it just has a transparent background, and then that way you can use it to just slap it on top and it's perfect. You don't need any keys, you don't need anything like that. But then again, I don't know how you did this, and there might be very real reasons why it's like that. But yeah, that's just something that's catching my attention. Otherwise, shot's actually really quite nice. I quite like that a lot. Yeah, good job. Yes. Huge wave of nostalgia. I made so many films like this when I was about this age, and I dragged family and friends into trying to help me make these things, and yeah, most of mine were not good, let me tell you. And already just from those first few shots and the intro videos and things, the CG in this is much better than what I had back then. So yeah, this is cool fun. Oh, I like those little camera wobbles. That's quite cool.
We've got to fight this battle. We have to.
Yeah, sound is definitely, probably for me, the most irritating thing about filmmaking, particularly working outside, because you've got all those ambient sounds and like breeze blowing in the trees and the occasional animal or a chainsaw way off in the distance or something. You may have noticed that in the Bane film that we made, there is absolutely no sound from any of the footage. It's all just sounds that we've made in post-production and music and things like that, and voiceover. that is mainly because we didn't have the money for a decent microphone when we were making that, and I'd hazard to guess that you got a similar situation here. Definitely try to have your actors facing towards the camera, because sound is a very directional thing, and if you're looking sort of towards the camera, the sound's going to be picked up by the microphone in your camera a lot better. Another thing you can potentially do is do dubbing. That is to say, have people in the post-production side of things, like after you've filmed it, in a room in your house or something, recording the lines again, and then you put them over the top of the footage. But if you don't get that timing exactly right, it can look quite goofy. So, you know, it's a tricky thing. Definitely invest in a good microphone at your first opportunity. Like, more than high resolution, more than high quality CG, good quality sound can make or break a film. And yeah, I'm actually having a lot of trouble hearing what these guys are saying. I have to like really turn it up quite loud to understand what they're saying. But yeah, I mean, even just taking the measure of turning towards the camera would make a big difference. Framing is also something I'd want to work on in this particular shot. So I would probably advise moving the camera a lot closer to the two characters in this situation, because they're having a conversation. You can focus your audience entirely on what the two are saying rather than the environment all around them. It would also help a lot with the sound difficulties, because your camera's a lot closer to the subjects. It's able to pick up what they're saying a lot easier. And also, because you're right up close, you can actually see their mouths moving and be able to read what they're saying on their faces, not just by hearing it, which helps a lot with readability.
Let's go.
Whoop, here we go. Action time. Well, those lightsaber effects look really good. It could probably benefit from a bit of a flash, like a flash of light whenever they make contact, to add a little bit of impact. But they're quite good. I like that a lot. The glow looks nice. The color's good. The camera movement's really nice too. Actually, I'm quite happy with that. I spy a sneaky little prop lightsaber in the corner. Haha! Don't feel too bad about that. You'll be gratified to know that they made the exact same mistake in the original release of episode 4. They've actually forgot to color in Darth Vader's lightsaber in one particular shot. I'm actually trained to spot things like this for my job, so, you know, most people probably wouldn't notice that. And your lightsaber effects are really, really good. Most of the, except for that one spot there, so far all the lightsaber effects are really good. Like, they seem to be following the motion of the prop blades really, really quite nicely, and the glow looks quite nice. Yeah, good job. Oh dear, they got separated.
Christian!
That's never a good thing. Yeah, the good old running shot. Oh no, dangerous sis! Well, I'm liking the costumes. It's a pretty, you know, pretty decent effort on the costumes. Hey, whoa. That tree branch. Hold on, wait, let me get back for a second. Yeah. If that tree branch was set up to break deliberately like that, that looked really quite nice. That was a good choice. That's something that they do in stunt work in big films all the time, is that they, you know, have like scenery and glass and prop bottles and all sorts of things that are designed to break, to add impact to a hit of some description. So if that was on purpose, that was done really, really well. I quite liked that.
Once I have your sabers, that will be.
Yeah. Talking through masks, that's definitely an issue. Especially when you're already having difficulty picking up the audio, that talking through a mask, that'll do it. This is a perfect time to do some dubbing in post-production. So have him say the line there in the shot, that's great. But then afterwards, when you're doing the post-production stuff and you're adding the music and all that sort of stuff, have him say the line into a microphone where it's nice and quiet, and then put that audio of him saying it over the top, because it is just impossible to hear what he's saying. That's a shame. I'm sure he has a lot of devastating one-liners as the Sith Lord in this film.
kill you.
Okay, so this is a good opportunity to talk about the 180 rule in filmmaking. So you see how you had the good guys on the left talking to the right-hand side of the frame, and then you cut and you also have the bad guy on the left-hand side talking to the right-hand side of the frame. Like, I would even be tempted to have the bad guy footage mirrored, so he's on the right talking to the left, because it gives a better sense of space. Try to imagine there is a line between the participant on the left and the participant on the right. Try your best to never go over that line. Like, go backwards and forwards as much as you like along that line and on one side of that line, but try not to go to the other side. And the reason for that is it can cause a bit of confusion in the audience as to what's going on and who is where, and it just looks a little bit off as well. Because, you know, in this situation, for example, it looks like, for whatever reason, the Sith Lord has turned around and is talking away from the good guys. Even if the lighting's not exactly where it should be because you've mirrored the footage, it would make more sense spatially and it wouldn't be quite so jarring. Oh, it's game time. Oh, that's a funny cut. Whenever I'm filming something, particularly a fight scene, I try to film it from multiple angles and several times. That way, you know, if there's something that you don't quite like about one take, it's okay. You've still got one or two other takes that you can use. It also comes in handy when you maybe want to reorder how something happens. So, like, say for example, maybe he blocks something and then throws something over there, right? Maybe you want to change it around so he throws it and then blocks, something like that. And if you have multiple takes, sometimes that can be really helpful because you've got a little bit more footage to work with. In that situation, it looked like he drew his lightsaber and then attacked, but you liked the drawing action from one take, but the block from another one. So you sort of combine the two. I don't know if that's the case. I really don't, but that's what it looks like to me. And maybe if you'd done that blocking thing and you just done maybe you redid that shot 4 or 5 times in different ways, you would have hit a combination that you really liked and you wouldn't have that really strange little cut in there. Ooh, got him! That actually looks really good. Okay, so that lightsaber blade there is obviously something that you added after you filmed it. Obviously, there's no actual blade hitting him in the chest. I would probably say the main thing that's making that stand out to me is that it's not following the actor around. Like, he's like breathing and all that sort of stuff, but the blade isn't really moving very much. Like, it is a little bit, but it's not following his movements at all. I would definitely recommend using some sort of tracking software to make a single solid shape for the lightsaber blade and then track the movements of the actor so that the blade follows him around a little bit more, because at the moment it just looks like someone's gone in afterwards and manually moved it around a little bit to make it look like it's not just a stationary shape, which is fine, but it's not following him, and that makes it sort of stand out to me at least. HitFilm is actually a very good program for learning this stuff. They've got HitFilm Express, which is the free version, and it has all that tracking software built in. Not to mention all the lightsaber effects stuff that they have as well. I'm pretty sure they're all free as well. So definitely give that a look. If you're not, you might already be using it, I'm not sure. But that one would be a good option for that, because then you could actually track the movement of the actor there and then have the blade move around to follow him a little bit and make it look a little bit more integrated into the shot. Whoa! Got him! That looked cool. I liked that. The lightning effects there look fabulous. I don't know how you've done those, but they look really, really good, so nice job. Yeah, so this is probably the first time that I'm seeing the lightsaber effects look a little bit and that's, I think, entirely because it's the lightsaber blade on the ground and it's being blocked by the actor moving around. And I suspect what's happening here is you're manually animating the shape of the blade so that it's not going through the actor because you want it to be behind him. So in order to make that look a lot nicer, what I would probably recommend doing is having a single solid shape for the blade and then having a separate image entirely, or a separate pass entirely, which is just a mask of the actor. And you subtract the mask of the actor from the mask of the blade. So what you end up with is the exact same shape of the blade, so it's not wobbling around at all, minus the shape of the actor. So wherever the actor's moving, whatever the actor's doing, or an object, whatever it is, the lightsaber blade will always be solid and clean and always the same size. It's not wobbling around all over the place, but you're getting those nice edges so it's not going out in front of the actor. But I don't know what software you're using. I'm not sure if it's capable of doing that. Definitely, if you use that hit film program I mentioned before, it definitely has the capacity to do that. So do give that a look if you can. Is he dead? I don't think he's dead, he's breathing. But I mean, is he dead? No, he's definitely not dead. That's nice. I mean, you'd think a lightsaber through the sternum would do that, but Jedi are tough. That's the general rule I'm taking away from this. Oh yeah, the credits. I made lots and lots of films when I was younger, and they were just cameraman Daniel Nees, starring Daniel Nees, CG work by Daniel Nees. It was just this. It was just my name over and over and over again, maybe with like a special thanks to a family member or something like that. And that's all it ever was. I think most people who are in film can relate to that to some degree. So a really big round of applause to everyone who was involved in making this. I think you did a really good job, actually. For people of your age and experience level, it's actually a really solid effort. I really enjoyed it, actually. The storyline was simple, but it did what it needed to do. The acting was actually pretty good for people your age, particularly this dude. What a champ. The CG was actually really quite good. That's definitely something that comes with time and practice, so just keep working at that. The more you do it, the better it'll be. I know from personal experience that by the time I'm halfway through a project, I'm often looking back at the start of the project and just thinking, geez, I just want to redo it because it looks awful to me. But like, it already looks bad to me, and it's only been like a couple of months maybe. The choreography of the fight scenes are actually really quite good. There was some cool moves, especially this backhand by the bad guy. Oh, savage. The main things I'd say to work on would probably be the sound quality, making sure it's easy to hear what your characters are saying, especially if there's going to be some dialogue in your film, just as part of the storyline. It's important to be able to hear what they're actually saying. And maybe just the framing of some of the shots, that is like the shot composition, where people are, how close the camera is, all that sort of stuff. There's lots and lots of good courses. I will put a link to a channel called Film Riot in the description. They do a lot of really good videos talking about how to get your shots looking really nice. And definitely go through some of their stuff because they do a really good job of explaining a lot of this stuff. Every great filmmaker on the planet has started at some point with no experience at all and no idea what they're doing. Like everyone starts from square one at some point. So where you are now, at your age, making films like this with the level of CG that you've got in here already is actually really quite good. So just keep pushing, keep working at it, and eventually you'll be making like Hollywood blockbusters before you know it. Maybe go to film school, get really good, you know? Like, just keep working at it. And it's definitely one of the more fun areas to work in. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching. This was great fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching this film. If you've made any films at all, please do send them to us. It doesn't have to be Star Wars, anything at all, and we'll happily give feedback. And if you like, we can even make a video like this, talking about it and showing it to people. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time.